We're going to try to remove and replace the throttle cable on a lawn tractor or riding lawnmower. The throttle cable is a part of the throttle and choke cable assembly. This includes the throttle and choke cable and also the lever the operator uses. We will be demonstrating this with the Cub Cadet XT1 lawn tractor. This procedure can be adapted to other lawn tractors with a similar cable assembly. The first indicator that we needed to replace the throttle cable was that the engine would crank but not start even in the choke position. The next indicator was that the lever moved freely or with less resistance than it usually does. Let's make sure the engine is off and the key is out of the ignition. Before we remove the hood, we will disconnect the wiring for the headlights. We will now remove the hood. This is a V-twin engine where the cable wraps around the engine to the other side and then attaches to the front of the engine. Please keep in mind that the length of the throttle cable and where it attaches to the engine will be specific to the model and engine of the lawn tractor. This is a close-up view of where the cable attaches to the throttle linkage of the engine. Another indicator that this cable is broken is that it is bent near the end when it should be straight. Since the cable was held down with a fastener, a long-nosed pliers was used to remove the end of the cable from the throttle linkage. As a side note, the bends at the very tip of the cable are meant to be there. An 8mm socket was used to remove the fastener. Prior to removing, you may want to use tape or a mark to indicate where the cable was held down as a reference. Once the fastener is loose, the cable can be removed. In this view, we can again see how the throttle cable is routed from the rear of the engine toward the front. We will remove the throttle cable from the hook at the rear of the engine. This assembly has 4 tabs holding it in, but it can be pried out with 2 screwdrivers. Since both the assembly and the instrument panel are plastic, this should be done slowly and easily with the least amount of force needed to get the job done. Since the cable attaches to this assembly and it is now free, we can pull the entire assembly with the cable out. We will use a long neck pliers to clean the debris. In this view, we have the old cable removed from the lawn tractor. We can see that the cable is broken and the cable does not move when the lever is moved. Now we will begin to reinstall the new cable by placing it inside the hole at the instrument panel. The new choke and throttle lever is reinstalled by pushing it downward. It will be held in place by 4 tabs. We can see the new cable being pulled down then around the rear of the engine. At the rear of the engine, the new cable can be installed on the hook. Now again, we're here at the front of the engine looking toward the throttle linkage. The throttle lever is set past full throttle to the choke position. In this position, the cable tip is retracted and barely showing. Since the cable is not being held down, the cable itself can be bent to install the tip. Looking back, this also means that if the cable was not being held down by the fastener, it could also be bent to be removed without a long nose pliers. Next, we will set the lever in the low throttle position to extend the cable. We can also observe the movement of the throttle linkage and the springs to determine the adjustment and where the cable will be held down. The linkage itself is in a neutral position, so this is where I will start to hold down the new throttle cable. An 8mm socket was again used on the fastener to hold down the cable. At this time, the lever should be installed in the instrument panel. We're just showing the lever here to demonstrate how it affects the length at the end of the cable. You can see the movement of the springs and linkage when the lever is set to the choke position. We will now reinstall the hood and connect the wiring for the headlights. With the hood closed and the new throttle cable installed, the lawn tractor should be able to start and operate the throttle properly. Thank you for watching.